I just saw Inside Out 2, so let me tell you if it's worth watching. If you don't already know, in this film, Riley's a bit older. She's a straight-A student, best hockey player on her team, but she's 13, meaning that a certain thing is approaching that the second you hear that she's 13 you know about, and also if you've seen the trailer you know about, and then it happens, that being puberty. And with puberty comes a lot, but in particular, this film focuses on the emotional aspect of puberty, with new emotions of anxiety, boredom, embarrassment, and envy. And I think that all those emotions were great. They all played a really solid part in this film, as well as the older emotions. I think that they were all really well written emotions, and the dynamics between them were really interesting. I especially appreciated that we got a lot more time in this film with joy, disgust, anger, and fear all together. We got to see the dynamics of those four characters, because in the first film, we didn't see a lot of those characters interacting with joy because we saw joy and sadness split off from them. Getting to see a lot more of anger and seeing the sort of dimensions of his anger and his personality, I found to be really interesting. I think that people are going to fall even more in love with that character after this film, which is totally understandable because he's a great character. My only character issue in this film was boredom. Because to me, boredom just didn't really feel like boredom, and I'm sorry if this is like a little nitpicky, but it felt more like sassy or something like that. It didn't feel like boredom. If you haven't seen the film, go see it, and I think you'll know exactly what I mean. If you have, feel free to let me know in the comments whether or not you agree. But really, to me, my two favorite characters in this film were Joy, because Joy is awesome. I love the character of Joy, but also Anxiety. The portrayal of anxiety in this film, to me, just felt so accurate. It would have been really easy to make Anxiety this one-noted character that's just this pure villain and evil, but they don't do that. They make Anxiety a really complex and relatable type of character, because you see what its purpose is and you see what it's trying to do, but you see that it's going about it pretty wrong and being maniacal without fully realizing that it's being maniacal. And because of that, this story is just genuinely so moving. Like, I know all Pixar films are moving, but this one in particular really had me in the feels. I mean, it's Inside Out, so of course that's gonna happen. Too bad, during a big chunk of the emotional core of this film, two people in my theater were on a FaceTime call. Yes, a FaceTime call, and being very loud about it. So that did pull me out of the film a little bit, but that is not at all at the fault of this film. But sadly, this film isn't perfect by any means, and really what I think is the major thing holding this film back from being maybe the best Pixar sequel we've gotten since Toy Story 3 is that it's just too similar to the first one. This film uses a lot of the same story beats, and even though there's new complexities and new emotions, at the end of the day, the ebbs and flows of this film move way too similarly to the first one. Do we get to explore new parts of the mind? Sure we do. But the story beats of that were just so similar. It felt a lot like New Hope to Force Awakens. You know, yes, they're different films, but they're structured just way too similarly. In terms of the voice acting in this film, it was all phenomenal. I mean, I know that they've recast Disgust and Fear, but I really didn't notice. I thought that those voice actors were great. You know, really the standouts here are Amy Poehler and Maya Hawke, who voiced my two favorite characters, Joy and Anxiety, and really did not hold them back whatsoever. They both give phenomenal voice performances, but Iowa Dabiri is a very close third because her voice was just unrecognizable. So despite my couple of issues with this film, I still think that this is probably the best Pixar movie we've had since Soul. It's been a really long time since I fully felt that Pixar magic, and even though this movie is not perfect, it does deliver the Pixar magic, and I really appreciated it, and for that, I have to give it 4 stars. Yeah, like this might actually be the best Pixar sequel we've had since Toy Story 3, funnily enough, even though I said it's not before. But anyways, what about all of you? Have you seen this film yet? If you have, please go down to the comments and let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with my takes? Do you disagree? I want to hear your opinions and start a discussion. I try to respond to all the comments I get. And while you're down there, feel free to like, subscribe, do whatever you want to do to help support this channel. It means the absolute world. I'll see you all in the next video. Take care.